Hey there, math fans. Short video on arc length. Arc length is something we need when we start to work with parameters regularly or if we're studying motion. Arc length really is just distance, but distance along our curve. The problem with working with parameterization, as you've already discovered if you're taking Calculus 3, is that you and your friend could have a different parameterization for the same curve. That's not as strange as it initially seems. You both could be driving on the same road but going different speeds. You could be starting in different places. You can walk along a line in many different ways, an infinite number of ways. But that introduces some problems. So when we're working in 3D and someone hands us a curve, I have one over here, we could actually study the motion itself, which is interesting. So here I've got this curve. I could put a dot on it. I could send that dot in motion. But the thing could be going fast or slow. There's all different sorts of things. It could be traveling. If I could turn around. So what if I wanted to know how far it was between those points? Now that shouldn't depend on how I'm walking along that curve. That should be independent of how fast or slow I go. Arc length is something that's the same for everybody. So that's really the biggest thing here, is it's the same for everybody. Plus it represents distance. So we're going to measure the distance from that dot to that dot along the curve. If you took Calculus 2, you know that typically integrals that compute the distance are not nice to compute. So you have to find the start and end time. There's a formula for it. It's sitting right there. It involves the derivative. It's almost always terrible to compute, but it's that thing. At the end of this video, I'll talk a little bit about kind of the derivation, which you saw in Math 125 if you're from here. But I just wanted to make a few comments. Some general comments first. This expression that's inside. So this will be an important theoretical tool in several things. It just plays a bigger role than it did in the previous course. That thing is actually the magnitude of the derivative. It's actually the speed. So that's kind of interesting. So the magnitude of the velocity is this speed, and if you integrate speed, you get distance. In physics and in this course, we use the letter S for distance. You might have seen that a little bit before. Here you see it almost always used. Typically we choose some starting time, often that's 0 to t, and we say what is the distance we've traveled. So this would be like the distance traveled along our curve. I know I'm trying to get off the screen here. Just move us up a little bit. So it's the integral of this thing. Now normally we use some letter other than something in our bound. So this always bothers students a little bit, but after you integrate, that variable should go away. So it makes sense that the integral of the speed is the distance traveled. Okay, so this will play an important role in some of the formulas we use. The good news is in the formulas we have like workarounds that avoid us actually having to integrate. So if you don't know how this is derived, it's by building an integral. And we do it by approximating and then doing more and more subdivisions. So briefly, that looks like this. I'm going to move this back. Here's I'm going to make a bunch of subdivisions. I'm going to draw straight lines between them. So there's 2 subdivisions where I've drawn some lines. And now let's draw another one. So now we're going to draw more subdivisions and more and more and more. Eventually you can't really tell the difference. I already have just 6 subdivisions and I can't tell the difference between them. So I'd like to add up those lengths. Those are straight line distances. Okay, so with that in mind, I prepared this. going to pull this up so we can talk about it. Make it a little smaller. So given a 3D curve, what we want to do is to get these distances. So we do the same thing. So this is a calculus 2 thing, which is we take our times, our start time and end time, and divide it up. That's our subdivision of what we're trying to compute. We then label our tick marks. A lot of students get confused by this in Math 125. You don't really need to know this for this course. I just wanted to give a little background. And then we basically say we do exactly what we saw in the picture. So if you have 2 points along your little approximation, we do the straight line distance. Now that doesn't look like an integral. I often say to my students, we are trying to make it look like something dt. And so what we're searching for is a way to write this as the sum of something times the width. Now, when I see this, I go, there is no width, so something is wrong. So that's kind of this. If you didn't catch this in Math 125, you basically say, well, I'm going to put a dt here. I want there to be a dt here, but then I have to put a dt there. But what do I do with that dt? I somehow need to get it under the radical. If you've never seen this before, it's just a clever little maneuver to get something under a radical. It's the square root of delta t squared. It's the same because I'm dealing with a positive number, so it's the square root of this squared, and then I can distribute. So that's really where it comes from. It's just a clever little rearrangement and the straight line distance formula. So this looks like the square. After we simplify, you get the square root, and you get this over the change in t squared. So it's the change in x at our particular point. I'm going to abbreviate, divided by the change of t at our particular point squared. And then it's the change in y at our particular point divided by the change in t squared. And then the change in z at the particular 2 points divided by the change in t, delta t. And we would like the limit as n goes to infinity. So it's a nice little chase through applications of integrals. Okay. At that moment, then you make your one final observation is that as n goes to 0, and there's always, take a future course in making this more precise. We saw it in our picture, but these things approach x prime, y prime, and z prime. So that's it. It's a nice short little derivation compared to some of the things we do in Math 125. But for us, it's just an important little tool. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about a couple related things, but it's just something that is invariant. 1 mile is 1 mile for everyone. It might be faster for you, like it might take me 12 minutes to do it, and you can do it in 4 minutes, but it's still 1 mile. So we're thinking of things in terms of distance is going to be important in the next topics we talk about, because distance doesn't change. All right, standardizes things.